Ready?
Yeah, I'm ready to go. Okay. I'd like to welcome everybody to the Williamson County Board of Commissioners regular meeting. It's June the 14th, 2022 at 10 a.m. Roll call, please.
Jim Marlowe,
Present.
Brent Gentry, Tim Atkinson.
At this time, I'd like for everybody to stand and recite the pledge. Pledge
Allegiance to the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Father, we ask that you guide our actions and our words this morning as we conduct the people's business. We ask that you be with the leaders of our country at this time. I ask all these things in most heavenly name. Amen.
Okay, is there any old business we need to discuss? No. If not, move on to new business. We have one first thing on the agenda, green energy permitting. I think, Tim, did you want to talk about this?
Alex brought this to me, 2 months ago, month and a half, 2 months ago, I guess we first started talking about this. And we have a few companies that are interested in coming in and developing solar farms. And this permitting process, Alex is going to explain it to us here in just a second, will help cover the county in case any damage is left to the farm areas where they're going to build these things, in case the companies dissolve or whatever. Alex, would you come up and give us a little bit better explanation?
So like Mr. Atkinson was saying, when these solar farms or wind turbines come in, they have to enter into what's called an AIMA, Agricultural Impact Mitigation Agreement. It's filed with the Department of Ag, but basically it puts the county on the hook for reclamation if they fold up and close up shop, disappear into the night. So we felt like we need to have a policy in place to put some sort of bond so that the county has some sort of money available to reclaim this back into agriculture. Looking at some various other counties, we felt like Christian County's ordinance was probably the best, most suited for us. They're just based on zoning. Obviously, we don't have zoning, so we're going to have to adapt their ordinance to kind of fit ours. We'll take from a couple others, but it's a project we need to undertake to keep the county from being liable. I'm not saying that they're going to go under, but we need to be prepared if they do.
The lifespan of these farms are 20 or 25 years.
Yeah, we tax them for 25 on depreciation, so.
Right, and this is significant because if they do leave, then there's the whole steel, what are the panels?
The solar panels, the standards, the wires, the building for the transformers, everything.
And in this, we found a few other counties that have the same thing. And there is a difference in the amount of the permit. And
Yeah, I
one
mean,
permit is
Some
10,000.
counties start at 10,000 for the first 2 megawatts. Some counties, it's a flat fee, just come get it. So,
And the reason why there's a fee there, and the reason why we need some kind of a bonding is that there has to be some engineering that has to be done either by the company that builds the solar panels. They have to engineer it and give us an engineer's
it
estimate.
has to figure out how much there is to take it all down, return it to ag land, and figure out how much scrap value there is.
Right, and that has to be done every 5 years, correct?
Christian County does it every 3 years.
Okay,
The agricultural agreements say every 5 years. So
okay.
Now, is this for both solar and wind?
the agricultural agreements are through the Department of Ag, both of them. So we figure if we're going to do it, we're going to write it for both of them. Most wind farms aren't going to come down here.
Right.
Just because there's not enough sustained wind, but better to write it for both agricultural agreements at the same time. I feel like that way we're not scrambling if they do.
So there needs to be a bond component to this that will protect the county long-term, some kind of an irrevocable bond or something, I think. Right, you've looked at this, I think.
So the big question is, how much is that going to fluctuate? Since we're in the middle of inflation right now, obviously in 3 years, it could be up, it could be down, we don't know. So that bond will have to fluctuate, or you have to set it at an amount that anticipates worst case scenarios. So that's the difficulty with it right now, is determining, 2 years ago, the labor to take something down is a heck of a lot cheaper than it is today.
You're correct.
So that's, we're trying to figure that out is the challenge.
And scrap values could be also higher now because of inflation. So there could.
Correct. The biggest thing with the solar panels is much like the wind turbines is they don't have a real good recycled use at this point in time.
Right.
So at some point in time, if somebody can create a recycled use that's better, then I think the value potentially goes up. Right now, it's landfill.
Right. I think we need to have something in place now. We need some policy, some kind of a permit for this, just to protect the county.
How about the ones that's over here that kind of grandfathered in, they go back
I think we have to
to
grandfather those in, the horses out of the barn on those. Obviously, Brett would know better than that. but
Yeah, Red,
We can't make them get a permit afterwards.
I think the federal government potentially could through the Department of Ag from a much similar to a coal reclamation type of thing. They're trying to get ahead of it now.
Yeah.
Because it's above surface as opposed to.
I mean, we've got a couple AMAs from the existing ones, but as far as making them get a permit,
Yeah, I don't think you're going to get that.
no, I don't think a permit, but maybe some kind of a bond.
I don't know that you're gonna get a bond because there are agreements with the Department of Ag. So we can do it now, but I don't know that.
here for.
for future.
Yeah.
And I've heard from a couple solar installations that they want to come with a couple more, so.
Now, if they want to add to their existing farm, then we could make them
Right.
pay some form of a bond and a fee.
So do you have, it's on the agenda, do you have one drawn up, or we want contingent, do the vote contingent upon you getting something prepared?
I don't have anything drawn up. I know Alex
I've
just
got
pulled
notes on
samples.
Christian counties that,
So we can vote on contingent that you guys get it done, and we'll mess with it later, right?
You could authorize moving forward in drafting those.
That's what I was
Those
looking for
resolutions
today. It
and
was
fees
just, I
schedule.
wanted you guys to be informed of what I thought we needed to do.
It's on there, we might as well.
Whatever you're
And
comfortable.
then if you get it done tomorrow or next week, or, you're ready to go.
So just go ahead and move forward with it, do the best that you can, do whatever you feel is the best. And run by Rhett, let him take a look at it. And, okay.
I will do that.
Put that on the, depending on how quick we get it on the next meeting.
Sounds good.
Thank you, Alex. You did a good job. Thank you.
All right, next thing on the agenda is the White Ash Sewer Credit for Daniel Sloan rental property. It was a pool fill. Daniel contacted Kyle Violet. Kyle calculated that the credit should be $73.50. So I make a motion that we approve the sewer credit only of $73.50 for the Daniel Sloan rental property at one of the two stops.
So,
Jim Marlowe,
Okay.
Brett Gentry.
Yeah.
Tim Atkinson.
yeah,
Okay. Next is the EMA contract. Now, we don't have that right here because we've got pretty much everything taken care of, except we wanted to discuss the benefit package, basically, is what we're.
So there are two items in the contract that we needed to have some clarification on. One is the benefit element as to sick, personal, vacation, all of those elements. The other is timekeeping elements, if we're going to put that into the contract, or if we're going to have it as a side, or exactly how the board wanted to keep track of that so that we don't run into the same issue that we've had.
Well, is the timekeeping gonna be done, Julie? No?
Well, that,
Since she
again,
might
that's,
come to,
that's what we need to decide.
That, to me, would be the best option.
if we're gonna possibly go through the other deal, that's not.
That's kind of what I thought.
So let's have Julie take care of the timekeeping.
Okay.
As far as sick days and personal days, sick days normally in the handbook right now are what?
I think it's 1 a month
Yeah, like 1 a month.
is how it's earned prorated.
Okay. And personal days are three year?
Or you guys at
Three.
4?
Three?
I think it, in the handbook, I think it's still 3, isn't it? Or is it three?
Personal days?
Personal days, I think it's,
I know we get 4.
the personal, yeah, but in that
I think in the
employee handbook, I think it's 3 days. And they'd be prorated.
In the prorated. So if Brian starts June 1st, that's pretty much mid-year, he would get approximately, get 1.5
1.5.
personal days for this year right here. Okay. And so,
But no, those carry over to the next year. It doesn't usually,
Generally, personal days don't.
about 6 days.
Sick days do, up to a maximum of 240 that can be applied towards IMRF credit upon exit.
Okay, so
So there's
that
no cash value for sick days. There's just pension credit.
pension credit, so.
and once he's vested,
Once he's well, there's 2 catches to that.
Okay.
So it's once somebody's vested, and then they have to actually retire within 6 months, I believe. Actually apply for their pension within 6 months in order for those days to roll into credit. So if I have, if I have sick time that I want to convert into pension credit, because for every 20 days you get 1 month of service credit, but I don't plan on retiring, I can't roll any of those sick days. They mean nothing at that point in time. So it's a double catch on that. But that's IMRF policy.
Brian, do you have any questions on that?
No, I'm familiar with that.
Okay. Now, did you tell me at one time you were already in IMRF?
I have reciprocal credit in other systems, so I qualify for tier 1 employee instead of a tier 2. So I don't know if that changes the provisions.
Changes
based on
the vesting
tier.
schedule.
Yeah, so it's 8 years instead of 10, is that correct?
So.
And I think the tier 1 also doesn't follow the rule of 85. It's, I think it's just after 8 years of vesting. So the rule of 85 is you have to, between age and service, have to equal 85. So there's some different rules with tier 1 versus tier 2. I don't want to go on the record for all of the specifics, but IMRF can work with it.
So if we're good with that, that was the only thing that we had in question.
Yep.
Okay. So, and then Julie will take care of timekeeping,
Yeah, you'll just have to instruct him what that means.
which she'll have to sign off on the timekeeping.
Well, I mean, that's the question. Does he report to her? Does he log into her? What does he do that's going to allow her to know that, is he going to submit every Friday? Hey, I worked Monday through Friday. Here's the hours. Or is it, I don't know what you guys
Does
do.
Julie have any input on this? Yeah, why don't you grab it?
The key is communication.
Yeah.
They have to go talk to each other. It's not anything difficult.
So it's just a matter of how we report this.
If you're gonna take off a day,
Semantics.
this kind of day, just tell her.
So currently in the office, there is a form that we fill out and submit. Perhaps it's filled out and submitted internally to document time. Maybe that's just what I need to forward to her. We have a leave form in the office.
Timekeeping and stuff.
Yeah, there's a sheet they fill out, like if they take a day, and then normally that's turned into Stephanie, but now I've got the book. And so, have you seen that form?
I have, yes.
Yeah, so it's turned in like down in the commissioner's office, is where it's turned in. And then once a year, you'll turn in your time to payroll, because she keeps track of it in payroll too.
So we'll just continue that policy then to where those forms are maintained in our office and then a copy is delivered to the commissioner's office.
Yeah, that's fine.
And then will
Okay.
Julie be doing payroll, and submitting that to Marla?
That's what I would think.
That's how
Isn't it? Yeah.
I mean, Marla can add him to payroll, it's not a big deal, there's only two
Okay.
people.
Well, I mean, currently we're doing our own payroll.
Yeah,
So is
that's up
that,
to you guys.
That was part of the concern over the last time of self-payrolling.
Yeah.
It didn't oftentimes make it to review, and that's what we're trying to avoid. Nothing against you.
hey, no, hey, listen,
We're
if
just
that's
trying
one
to-
less thing my office has to manage.
Well, you know what I'm saying? It's
Yeah, I
like,
get it.
hey, today I'm getting paid, or this week I'm getting paid for 50 hours, and there's no check and balance on that. You get paid for 50 hours, and then we find out 6 months later that you got paid for 50 hours. That's the problem.
You just need to work it out, Brian, the best way. I mean,
Well, it's up to you
Seriously,
guys. If you
that's
guys
a-
want me to
that's
do their
a-
payroll, that's perfectly fine with me.
Right,
I think that
I
probably
agree.
the best thing.
Yeah.
So help me understand the issue at hand. So was there hours being submitted in excess of the 35 per week? Is that what the issue was, or how is that being?
Not to get into a bunch of
confusion,
At
what it was.
the end, there was time submitted that shouldn't have been submitted. In addition to the regular work week.
confusion or misunderstanding is
Yeah.
what, best way to put it today.
Payroll will need an email from one of you guys saying, you know, we need to switch them to me or they won't do it. So somebody needs to email
Okay, I'll do that.
Ashley.
Or Ashley. I'll talk to Ashley,
Yeah,
so.
but they'll want it in writing.
So pretty much effective immediately, our office will no longer be submitting our own.
When is next payment?
It's gonna,
It's actually this Friday, because Monday's a holiday, but I mean, I can do it Tuesday if they can't get it switched in time. It's only 2 people.
Wait till Tuesday? Does that sound good?
I'm sorry.
You want to wait till Tuesday? Does it start Tuesday?
So we will submit our own on Friday then?
Well, let it go through this Friday, then
Yeah,
start on
and
Tuesday.
then we'll start at the next payroll.
Next Tuesday, start next Tuesday, okay?
And then the next pay period after that, everything will be submitted through her office.
Starting Tuesday, you'll start everything on Tuesday.
Okay, so just so I'm clear. She will submit 35 hours per week for myself and Pat unless she receives a leave form, a copy of a leave form from us.
Exactly.
Correct.
But she'll still submit the 35 hours. It'll just be,
Where the
Documented.
35 fall,
Where it's gonna-
whether it's a benefit time or so forth and so on.
Just a checks and balances.
Understood, okay.
Now,
Correct.
the question is, because we just want to make sure we understand everything. So he gets called out, he works 50 hours. He's only going to be paid 37 and a half, correct? Because his salary.
he's going to be paid his salary.
It's- You work till the job gets done.
Okay.
There's where the confusion was, put it that way. Talk about later.
So. Okay. Just want to make sure, is everybody clear on that?
Clear as mud.
Clear as mud?
If you have any questions, just come find me.
The key is
Okay.
communication. That's the key.
So do we need to put this into the contract then?
I will have that ready for this afternoon.
Okay, all right. And then we've already approved it.
Correct.
Contract. So,
We just need to get him a draft of it so he
Yeah.
can review and say he's good, then you sign.
okay. Brian, did you have any other questions on that?
I do not.
Okay, under the minutes, we just need somebody to,
May 3rd, 2022, I make a motion to accept minutes.
Second.
Jim Marlowe, Brent Gentry, Tim Atkinson,
May 16, 2022, second.
Second.
Jim Marlowe, Brent Gentry,
Yay.
Tim Atkinson,
May 18, 2022, accept minutes.
Second.
Jim Marlowe, Brent Gentry,
Yay.
Tim Atkinson,
May 26, 2022, accept minutes.
Second.
Jim Marlowe,
Yeah.
Brent Gentry, Tim Atkinson.
did you want to read, accept the following reports?
That's why I jumped on that.
Do we need is that a motion on each one, just accept county clerk fees and count fees? I'm having trouble with my contacts, guys.
Oh, yeah.
Need glasses?
Yeah, I need some glasses. County, okay, accept county clerk fees and account for April. Accept county clerk, real estate trust for April. Accept county clerk mobile home trust for April. Accept county clerk vital records for April. Accept county clerk fees account for May. Accept county clerk real estate trust for May. Accept county clerk mobile home trust for May. Accept county clerk vital records for May. Accept county clerk fees account semi-annual report. Accept county clerk real estate trust semi-annual report. Accept county clerk mobile home trust semi-annual report. Accept county clerk vital records semi-annual report. Accept Williamson County General Fund report for April. Accept Williamson County General Fund report for May. Did I miss any?
I think you did good.
I'm having to read through my left eye because I think my right eye's totally messed up. I took one for the home team.
Can I make a suggestion?
Yes, sir.
On those types of reports that are gonna be more of a rubber stamp most of the time,
Yes,
that we list those as a consent agenda item. And that way you guys can vote on it in just one motion of a consent agenda. And you don't have to list every single report out. It's all listed under the consent.
Well, in the past, they don't vote on, they just approve them is all they're doing.
Yeah, but you read them,
Never vote on
you read
so
them and
we'll
you say,
have-
you
What should
say,
we?
accept those.
But that's what I'm
But it's
saying,
still
is
the
anything
same
that's
thing.
uncontested, you guys can put onto a consent agenda item. You can have 6 or 7 items on there, and then it's just one motion that approves all items under the consent agenda,
Right.
unless somebody wants to pull one of them off for discussion. And that would make your process and Tim's contacts not go crazy.
So,
That's no fun.
Just an idea. It's
so you
certainly
would, so,
discussed.
so before
We
we
do
would,
that in other boards.
we would read those and set the reports. You're saying just one motion to accept all the reports?
One motion to accept the consent agenda items, and then all of those are deemed as to have been read into.
But you have to read every one.
No,
You do
it's
not.
all you do is read the
Damn,
consent.
that would help out a lot.
yeah, that would have saved about 150 words.
And before you, if anyone had any questions on it, you could discuss
You could pull one off, yeah,
then
you could
discuss
pull a
it.
report off discussion,
it.
and
And
We
then-
like that
And
one.
then when we're done discussing, then we could go ahead and approve the consent agenda.
correct.
Okay.
All right, moving on to resolutions. We have a resolution for the recycling expense fund resolution of Williamson County. And what this is doing is taking all of the funds that we had budgeted for in recycling, putting them into a new fund that could be utilized for recycling expenses, any recycling expenses. Before, we had it listed for fuel, we had it for payroll, repair. I believe there were a few different line items within recycling. Now that we contract with Progress Port, we can just combine all these funds into one line item, transfer them in, and then we can just pay everything out of that one line. It kind of cleans things up. That's all it's really doing, housekeeping. Does anybody have any question on it? If not, just need a motion to accept.
I make a motion to accept resolution 22-06-1437 recycling expense fund resolution.
Jim Marlowe?
Yes.
Brent Gentry?
Yeah.
Tim Atkinson?
Under other business, I guess I could say, I have been in contact with Steve Fertini, Aaron, concerning recycling. Steve is interested in taking 1 day of our 3-day recycling period and paying for 1 day to have recycling in Aaron. I've talked it over with Lori Jones. Lori would be good with it. I did tell Steve we are providing a shelter here for the employees there, and that Lori would probably want something like that, in Aaron as well for 1 day. Steve said he would run it by the board and see what would be available. He's thinking about where the Heron Civic Center is. So I just want to let you guys know, before we do any changes or anything like that, that's been checked on. Steve is in the process of seeing, running the idea by his board. And if their board accepts it, and if they've got a place for their people to, progress reports of people to stay out of the weather, then Steve said that they would probably be willing to go ahead and take one day and pay 1/3 of the bill, which would lower our costs for the recycling.
Yeah.
We'd still have it here 2 days a week and 1 day in Heron. So their bill would be, and I told Steve approximately about $3,500 and some change for a year. So I just want to run that idea by you.
I think that's a good idea. And I think that's the spirit of the program, is to get it to more people to bring their stuff.
So,
I agree.
Okay.
We should do that.
so, all right. Anything else from anyone else? Do we have anyone online here in the waiting?
There's one on Zoom right now.
Sir, okay, do we have any?
I have one I'd like to share with the board.
Yes, sir.
We had a representative from Ameren visit our office to discuss the potential power rolling blackout issue. And I wanted to share with the three of you at the same time.
Please, why don't you go ahead and get a
Yes,
picture
sir.
of Golden X and share it with us and everyone else who may.
Absolutely. So a representative from Ameren visited the MA office, and she shared with us that the Ameren is currently working on a curtailment plan. And currently, the way the curtailment plan will work is there is a entity that monitors the distribution of power throughout the region. And they're the ones that makes the notification to the power suppliers and the power distributors of how much they need to reduce off the grid. So Ameren's working on a curtailment plan currently that will prioritize a reduction in power for, they'll start with all Ameren facilities first, and then they will go to large scale manufacturing facilities who are their larger consuming customers. And then they will move through the people who use power based on their percentage of power coming off the grid, and they will touch residents last. And they will always prioritize delivery for nursing homes, hospitals, and long-term care facilities. So they are anticipating that unless we had a complete failure in the grid somewhere, that those places would maintain service throughout, even if there was a brownout.
Do you have a contact number for that person?
I do.
Okay. I'd like to talk to that.
I will share that with you this afternoon.
All right, thank you, appreciate it. I've heard that from a number of people about the possible brownouts, rolling brownouts and blackouts. I've heard from a number of people that are within the energy industry. I think it is a viable concern. So I don't know how we're going to handle it, so we'll just have to see.
We're having those conversations.
Anything else from anyone? If not, we just need to entertain a motion to adjourn.
Motion to adjourn.
Jim Marlin.
Yeah.
Bert Gentry.
Yeah.
Jim Atkinson.
Same time, same place, right? Same chair.
We're close to here.
No, no, what do?
Good to see you. So,
Well, I know.
Yeah, one second.
one of the things that I
don't know, I mean, me personally,
Oh,
I
yeah.
don't know.
it seems like one of the markets is really
I sold.
energy.